Alright, so we need to have a little talk about God Eater 3 because, for a long time I've been thinking about making a video on this game, especially now that we have the update 2.0, which is a small update. It's just a character episode, a few new costumes, and I think new origamis maybe, but it's not really much, and I've been thinking about making a video on it. But it has been really tough for me because I have been quite busy this past few days because I have a lot of things to take care of. I have a lot of things to do, which I really have a really short amount of time for games nowadays. Though I will be able to have more time when Code Vein comes out. But for now, yeah, I'm busy, so I didn't have time to play it. But something came up and now I have to press on this video. I have to put this video out right now because I was watching Jammer. If you don't know, do you know Jammer? He's a big EATER fan. He's covering the game every time he can, and I was watching him stream the game, and pretty much he was playing the update 2.0, which I didn't have time to play, like I said. And it wasn't that interesting of an update, I would say. Pretty much like the previous update for Zeke's brother, like Neil, his story and all that stuff. It wasn't that interesting, but something came up at the very end of that update, of this, at least for this part of the story. And yeah, I'm gonna spoil it. So if you don't want to know anything about it, or if you don't know anything at all about it for now, I would recommend you to click away from this video because I'm actually going to spoil what happens in the story update for EATER 3 2.0. So, like I said, I was watching Jammer. His channel has been linked in the description below, by the way, and I'm gonna link it in the comment section as well, just to make sure that you see it. So yeah, he was playing the update. It wasn't so interesting, like I said. It was pretty much Claire's backstory and stuff. I don't like Claire at all. I hate that character. I think Claire and Theme are the worst character in my opinion. I don't like them at all. I think they're pretty bland and uninteresting. And it was pretty much her backstory and how it was sad and all that stuff. And I didn't care at all, so I wasn't interesting. Yeah, that wasn't interesting. And at the end of it, I think it's only the very end of the story section that is more interesting because, for the people who really like the waifu type of stuff, I think you will get very much satisfied with it because she she almost pretty much confesses to the freaking main character. So I don't know if that's a ship, that's an official ship for our character and Claire's, but yeah, it seems to be the case. I don't know if you guys are experts in that. Feel free to let me know what you think about it. But yeah, I'm not sure what that means because I don't like that type of stuff anyways. But yeah, she pretty much confesses, and then you get a freaking happy ending at the end. But then the most interesting part that happens is about Soma, or Ein if you want. But Soma, pretty much everyone is happy at the end, and then for some unknown reason out of nowhere, he freaking has a freaking heart attack. Like, he just holds his chest like he's about to freaking die right there, and his vision gets blurred and he freaking runs out of the room. Like, everyone's like, what the hell? And our main character goes to check on him, and pretty much he's like he's in really bad shape. Then Theme says something that is kind of interesting actually. She says like he's about to turn and freaking an origami, and that his origami is about to come out. And I'm like, what? What the hell is happening? Like, the story was so boring for the rest of the freaking stream, and then she just drops that line there, like this thing happens. Like, what the hell is happening? So it caught me by surprise. And actually his origami wasn't coming out, but he says that he only has 6 months before this happens, like before his origami comes out. Like, we already knew a lot of things. We already knew that Soma was He's kind of a half origami, and pretty much every Gladiator is kind of half origami, but Soma is a kind of a special case because he was born that way and because he's pretty much the original Gladiator. So it's a very interesting part of the story that is coming up to us, and I didn't expect that at all. And I'm mad mostly because this type of thing makes me realize that God Eater is a super interesting game. It has such a nice lore. It has such a, like, God Eater 1 is a great foundation for this franchise, and I'm so pissed that they didn't use that fact. They didn't use the fact that God Eater 1 is such a good foundation for the story, and they've just been, ever since God Eater 2, they've just been making these crappy, how do they call it, dramatic story. It's just so uninteresting compared to God Eater 1, especially in terms of characters. Like, they're just so bad. But this type of thing made me remember that God Eater is a super interesting game, and I really like it. And like I said before, I really hate the story in God Eater 3. I hate the characters so much, because I had so much more expectations for them when they were talking about the lore before the game came out. So it makes me realize how much I really love this franchise, and I really want it to be better than that, because, you know, God Eater 3 it's a missed opportunity, I would say. A lot of people had their eyes more into hunting games since 2018, because Monster Hunter World came out. Ever since Monster Hunter World came out, a freak ton of people have been getting their eyes on God Eater 3, were playing Dauntless, and even for Monster Hunter, people didn't play Monster Hunter that much, and now it sells 13 millions. It's like probably the biggest sale for Capcom ever. So it's huge. That is a huge phenomenon, and God Eater 3 just didn't make sure to retain the interest of the people who tried the game. Like, it didn't make it work out for itself. Like, it's so disappointing. I'm so disappointed in that, because it was such a huge opportunity for God Eater to actually grasp the power of people who didn't like the story part of Monster Hunter. Because guess what? The main selling point of God Eater is it's a Monster Hunter game, but with a story that we're supposed to care about. And they just make these crappy stories that nobody cares about. So what's the point even of writing these stories? Just do like Monster Hunter, make a story that nobody cares about, but at least make a good content, like make great content for the game. A lot of monsters, a lot of weapons and costumes to have, lots of things to do. So yeah, it's just sad that guy that does this type of thing. So this has been kind of an intro for me to talk about what I'm really trying to say here. And what I'm trying to say is, I want, if they ever make another God Eater like God Eater 4, I want things to really change, because it's super important. Like, this game can be great. Like, these things are dropping, like, ever since the update for Neil, Zeke's brother, they've been dropping these moments. Like, Soma out of nowhere, he comes out and says, I have friends in the Far East Branch. I was not even hoping that we were going to talk about the Far East Branch ever again, and about the older characters of the game. Like, everything about God Eater 3 is uninteresting, but then you have Soma that is here. Like, the only thing that is so good about God Eater is still God Eater 1. And when Soma does this thing, during the update when I was watching, it was great, because during the stream, people started making all sorts of theories and all that stuff, and it was so good. Like, we even had Animeist in the chat. Do you know Animeist? Please, if you do, I'm linking his channel as well in the description and in the comment section. Give him some love as well. Big God Eater fan. I've been actually watching him for a while. It's been it's been a long time. But yeah, so show him some love. But yeah, everyone was making theories and all that stuff, and it was great. It was great because God Eater is it has a freaking good lore, like I said, and it's such a shame that God Eater 3 didn't do what it had to do in order to, keep the people interested. So But like I said, I want things to be better. Like God Eater 3 had a great lore, like I said, but the story was not well delivered by the characters. It was so trash because they say this thing about God Eater 3. Like the main plot is freaking there's a new type of God Eaters. They are called the Ages, adaptive, which stands for adaptive God Eaters, and they have these crazy powers, but they are closer to Origamis. And it's great, right? It's an interesting thing because they are kept like they are pretty much described as hounds, like dogs who just go to hunt outside, and they are kept in cages, are kept in prisons and treated like slaves. And it's great and all. And they have these radiation, like the ash storms coming up, and you have the freaking caravans, all that shit, and resources are lacking. Great stuff. It's a great setting for a nice story and nice characters, but guess what? We never see this part of the story where the Ages are closer to the Origamis, which is a major factor. You might think it's a very tiny thing, but that thing alone, the fact that it's missing, it completely ruins the entire characters. It ruins every characters in the game, and it ruins their interaction completely. Because imagine if Gaither the Ages are indeed closer to the Origamis in their attitude, which means that they would be more like aggressive. They would be kind of very agitated God Eaters that are difficult to keep around. Like you cannot really give them orders. They are really hard to maintain, and you kind of need some sort of way to like handcuff them again. Like it's really hard to chain them around. It's really hard to give them orders. And imagine if, like, how do you say it? Because the problem in this game is that people are kept in cages, like they are kept in prisons, but you don't know why. It's just because all the Ages in this game, they are treated like monsters and all that shit. They are treated like garbage people, literally, but you don't know why, and you don't see why they are kept like why they're treated like this. They're pretty much normal people, just that have their rights taken away from them for no reason. But if they were closer to Origami because they are actually like Origamis, because they act like Origamis, because they like to fight Origamis maybe outside, it would be more interesting. Maybe imagine if Lulu was like, we don't know why she was abandoned. Even she was just abandoned randomly. But what if she was about to go berserk and Baron just didn't care about that? She was just like, let's abandon her outside because who cares? And then our characters, like the main group of characters, saved her from that. That would make more sense. It would make more sense why Lulu trusts them, because she was about to freaking die there, and they saved her. It would make so much more sense. You even have a crappy character like Fim, which is supposedly a freaking humanoid Origami, but nothing is Origami about her. She's so boring. She's just your typical nice and cute loli that you see in every freaking anime. Nothing interesting about her at all. Unlike Shio. Like Shio, the first time you see Shio, what does she do? She's freaking munching and on the freaking carcass of an Origami, like raw meat, blood gushing everywhere, and she just stands there and look at the protagonist like, what the hell? It's great. It's a great scene. I like it. And that's the cool part about Shio. She was actually an Origami. But Fim, I don't see what's interesting about her at all. She's just, like, say, a freaking random character that nobody cares about. And that sucks, because she could have been so much more than that. She could have been like the one character that calms the Ages when she's around, because the Ages are made out of humanoid Origamis. So her being a humanoid Origami is kind of like a master to the hounds that they are. It would be so much better like that, I feel like. But they're just not doing that. I'm really pissed at the story of God Eater 3, because these characters, they suck, man. They're just boring. There's nothing interesting about them. And yeah, but aside of the story, God Eater also fails. It really fails at the presentation, like how things are presented to new players. Imagine people didn't play Goether, they played Monster Hunter and stuff. Monster Hunter, I don't want to praise it too much because it also does some stuff wrong. Like, despite the fact that it's a really huge game and I really love it, it also does some stuff wrong. And it's kind of a little bit uninteresting at some points, in some parts specifically. But overall, it's a good game. But God Eater shouldn't do the same. It should do better. It should try to do better where Monster Hunter isn't doing good. And like I said, one of the things is the presentation. Like, okay, you start the game, you never play a God Eater game, and they introduce you with these cinematics and all that stuff, and it's cool and all, right? Because you're introduced to the world and to the characters. It's okay. I think all of that part is alright. But then here start the first thing. You're in jail. You're in jail. You're handcuffed. It's cool. I like it. But then they tell you, go to the terminal, accept the mission, and let's go. What? Alright, you do it, and the first thing is a tutorial mission, which lasts for 5 minutes. They talk a lot. They give you some hints on how to do stuff, and it's freaking bad. It sucks. You don't like the tutorials in God Eater 3 they're bad. They suck, and they should completely change that because they don't even tell you everything. They are not clear on some stuff. Sometimes they tell you, oh, to do a freaking dive attack, you have to use R2 and X, and you're not really reading what they're telling you. In fact, there's this dialogue that Zeke is doing. He's just talking to himself. And then there's the operator, which is the guard, that is also talking. And then you're just running around, and it's freaking bad. Nobody cares about that, and nobody cares about the hints that are written on the screen because it doesn't even tell you everything. Instead, what would have been better? You're in the prison. They tell you, go to the terminal, they have this one thing that is called in the menu that is called training, like a training room, a proper training room, and you have training challenges to do there. Basic movement, basic actions, like overall actions, weapon challenges for just to understand what weapon you want to use. That's how you do it. That's what is interesting because people saw the how's it called? The Heavy Moon. Super cool weapon, super interesting. But nobody knew how to turn it into a freaking chainsaw. Like, people who didn't play God Eater at all, they didn't know how to do it. Because there was nowhere for them to know. Yes, you have the archives. Do you really expect people to go through the archives and search for the tab, which doesn't even have a name, like search for the tab where they say weapon, and then go down and read text to read, use this key, this input to use this move? They're not gonna do that. They're not even gonna do that. But if you have weapon challenges, it makes the weapons more memorable. It makes you understand the actions of the game more efficiently than the crappy tutorial that they make you go through. I really hate that. So that's one of the first things they have to do. Change the freaking tutorial because it's so uninteresting to go through 3 missions that last 5 minutes and then are cut through cinematics and stuff. It's bad. I'm sorry, but that's one thing that I really hate. The other thing that I really don't like about God Eater 3 is how they handled the guns. Alright, the guns in God Eater 2 were broken. They were broken because you could kill a really powerful origami in like 30 seconds to 1 minute and a half. It was so easy because all you had to do, you had to build Blood Rage. You go to the mission, you start Blood Rage, you use custom bullet, and you start blasting through the origami. It takes a minute and a half to kill probably the strongest origami in the game with that. No sweat at all. No nothing. So easy. And that's why they nerfed the guns. They removed Blood Rage first of all, and they removed the custom bullets. At least they limited the custom bullets. You can only carry a certain amount with you instead of having infinite custom bullets, because that was really OP. So they did that, but the problem now is that the guns are kind of useless. They barely exist. They barely do anything for you in the gameplay. For example, I use the shotguns. I'm not even using it to shoot I'm not even using it to shoot the origami. I'm barely using it. All I do with the shotgun, I use it as a movement option for myself. It's useless. Maybe you can use it to heal the other players. Maybe you can try to, I don't know, use custom bullets from time to time, or shoot from time to time when the origami is doing some stuff and you don't really want to be in its face. But that's it. It's not really interesting. You cannot even make a decent build, a decent ranged build in God Eater 3 because the guns are so useless. So they need to think about a way to make the gunplay, first of all, feel better, because having to toggle the lock on and off like that, it's not good. It doesn't feel right. You want to aim like in a regular game, a regular shooter, and then you want to shoot. I think it would be a bit more interesting than that. But I don't know. I think currently the way they do it, it's crappy. Do you use the gun? Do you? I mean, if you do, tell me how you do it. And maybe if you have some footage of you really destroying an origami, a really big boss, an origami, in the game, late game, please show me, because I don't think the guns are that useful compared to the weapons that can do the job in 1 minute and a half as well. I don't know. But yeah, you have to handle the gunplay better, make it feel better, because it's really important. Because combined to the fact that people would now know how to handle the weapons and the actions of the game, it's just all good. It's all a bunch of good things to do for people who have never played the game. They cannot even feel like that part of the game because the gunplay is trash. Imagine someone doesn't like slashing the enemy. It's fine, you can shoot, but at least shooting is fun. Shooting isn't fun in God Eater 3 currently, and that's something that I hope they fix if they make a next a sequel to this game. Now, the next thing that I also want to talk about is how they handle missions. You know, Monster Hunter is very, like, the first time they make you play Monster Hunter, you're pretty much playing alone. You have your Palico, that's it. They don't give you the AI. And God Eater, the advantage of God Eater is that they give you these AI companions to help you go through the missions. It's an advantage, actually. It's not a disadvantage at all. But here's the thing. Both Code Vein and God Eater make this same mistake. Probably because God Eater still retains the influence of Shift, and Code Vein is made directly by Shift. But here's the mistake. When people play a game and there's a lot of mechanics to understand, if the game is being played with some sort of aid to the player doesn't understand the mechanics. He doesn't get a grasp of them correctly. You can play God Eater the entire game and you will never even know that you can perfect guard the devour attacks by the Ash Origamis. You will never understand that. You actually might never know that perfect guard is a thing in God Eater. There's a high chance of that happening because you have the AI with you. And something that happened when God Eater had its demos before it came out, a lot of people who tried the demos of God Eater, what they were doing is they had this AI with them. They couldn't disable it, obviously. And what they were just doing is they were just attacking the origami with square attacks. And we're talking about the Anubis here. The Anubis. So they were just spamming square, and or occasionally the AI would throw them the how's it called? Well, some burst link to give them burst and increase their stats and all. And it's cool, but they don't get to understand what the hell is even happening. They're just smashing square around the monster. The monster takes damage and they win the mission. What? Like, they didn't even understand what was happening and they were bored, and it was just practically a button masher for them. It's uninteresting. Completely uninteresting. Nobody cares about that. It makes you the AI makes the game, like, it makes you not care about the game because it's so easy that you just have to just spam one button. You don't even understand what's going on. You don't really read the attacks of the origami, which is an important thing in EATER, but you don't get to enjoy the game pretty much. What even is the point having the dive action when your AI companions are doing the entire job? You don't dodge everything, you don't dodge anything with the dive attack, you don't perfect guard with the dive attack, you don't perfect guard with your shield, you're never using your gun, you're just mashing square and bam, you get a burst link. Oh, my square attacks change and gets more powerful. I don't even know why. I just keep mashing square. Bam, the Anubis is freaking dead. Imagine how bad that is. So yeah, that sucked. That really sucked. And it didn't interest a lot of people. A lot of people their interest dropped at that moment during the demos, because it was just so uninteresting. And that's also a mistake that Code Vein has been doing last year before the delay. Everything that was about Code Vein, you always saw the AI partner. They would just tell you, yeah, you can disable the AI partner, because the AI partner, what it does, it really makes games look easier than they are, because you can sense when you watch the gameplay that the player isn't putting as much effort. Like, they are not really understanding anything. They're just kind of pressing buttons to try out what each button does, but they are not understanding what they're doing. It's not like a, it's not like a fighting game, right? Fighting games, you have to understand the mechanics, and probably that's even why fighting games are so intimidating to a lot of people, because there's a lot of mechanics to understand, and it's a lot of time and dedication. So when you make a complex game with a lot of mechanics, and that's not really easy to handle, you really want people to not go with AI partners. You want them to really go on their own, understand how the game works and all, because that's really important. And that's something that Monster Hunter even does. Even if Monster Hunter had AI companion, would they really put you with the AI companion immediately? I'm not sure. So for EATER to get people more hooked by the gameplay, by the so-called high action gameplay, it is important for them to put the player in a setup where they are alone and they have the option to call the AI companion. Like, the main setting of EATER should be alone, I feel like, because that's how personally I enjoy the game more when I'm playing alone. I'm not saying it just because I'm a tryhard, but because it's really how it is. You enjoy the game more when you're playing alone. Same thing with Code Vein. If I was playing just with the AI, a lot of people play with the AI. In fact, they don't even know you can cancel animations in Code Vein. They don't even know that exists. They don't even know that combo train is a thing. So it sucks. It really sucks when you put the AI as the main thing, because it also gives an illusion to the player. It tells them that the main way to play the game is with the AI, and it's not really the case. It's not really true. So yeah, that thing should change as well. Absolutely, I'm pretty sure it should. The type of missions is also a thing, because I think the setting of EATER, if they really want you to play with the AI partner, I would agree with it if every mission had two origamis to chase, but it's generally a 1v4. But 2v4s in EATER are a lot more intense. I also want them to focus a little bit more on, they have a certain type of mission which is like a horde type mission. You just have they introduced them in the previous update. They just had a freak ton of tiny origamis that we had to fight. It was so cool and so satisfying. And that's the part I think they should focus on, because in something like the anime, you would see characters fight a freak ton of origamis every time. They just fight a bunch of them, and it's cool, right? And I want that to happen as well in the game. It's so cool when they do that in the anime. And even in the how is it called, in the prologue, they had an OVA for EATER, which was cool because they were fighting a crap ton of origamis and it was just destroying them. So badass. And I wish the game was just like that every time. But in every EATER game, they always have this type of mission where you have at least one horde mission where you have 20 to 30 tiny origamis on the screen that you just have to kill. And if they could just do that more often, it would be so nice. That's where you want to have the AI with you, because that's the part where it feels good to play with the AI. So yeah, pretty much all I wanted to say. I really want EATER to change. okay, I've never been so much into games before, because I didn't have a lot of time to play games when I was a kid. Like, school was important. Parents didn't really buy a bunch of games for us. Most of the games I've played, my brothers found them somewhere. They got them. We played them, but we never put enough time into them. You know. So, EATER was probably the first game that I was really a fan of, because I had a PSP at the time, and it was one of the only games I had, and it was so cool. I love the game so much, and I want it to be better than that. I think it has the potential to do better, to be great, but they are just using this terrible story. They have this terrible storytelling, terrible anime tropes everywhere, cliches used in a terrible way, because every anime is a cliche, right? But the part where I hate anime nowadays, I really hate animes. It's a strong word, but it's true. I really, really hate animes nowadays, which is unfortunate because I used to be a huge anime fan. And the part where I really hate anime nowadays is that a lot of stories they're using cliches. It's fine to use cliches, but it's not good when you use cliches in the wrong way, at the wrong time, with the wrong place, with the wrong character. It kind of makes things awkward and makes things very, make characters out of their character, out of their attitude. Like, this character should not act this way because that's weird. It doesn't make sense, really. It's not in line of his attitude, of his personality. And they just use cliches, like, why not? So I don't like that part at all. It ruins a lot of things. And they also really suck at world building. They suck. Anime suck at world building. But EATER is really one of the anime stories that doesn't suck at it, but sucks at delivering the lore completely, because they are using these terrible cliches everywhere and these terrible tropes. It makes me really mad. I really like this game, but it's just not doing what it should do to be more interesting. Anyways, I was really pissed. Like I said, go give some love to Jammer, the great guy. Go give some love to Animes, great guy as well. I really like both of these guys. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Follow me on Twitter, leave a like and subscribe. Very useful, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye.